Hello. It's been a while since I've done any kind of update like this, so I'm going to try this relatively brief. We are the 10th of January 2025. Um, we are 3 weeks in, I'd say, of having finished radiotherapy and chemotherapy. Radiotherapy is the one that's done the biggest effect of definitely of the brain and the effect of it, and it definitely knocks your brain about a little bit. I'd say if you've got a GBM, certainly the radiotherapy does more than the others. It takes a lot of tiredness, and it's like the equivalent of walking around with you carrying your phone around with you all day, but it's got like 6%, like a 6% battery. Not 6% because you're walking around tired, but more like 6% of your cognitive power. It is like 6%. It's a really hard, a strange one to explain, but I've spoken to some other people online. Yesterday was the first time I had spoke with a number of people online with similar situations, and it was good to see lots of people nodding, or I saw myself nodding when people saying the same thing. So that's yeah, that's really good. So yeah, we've got a meeting next week with the oncologist people, which is the cancer people, who will then be talking about the next conversations about there, and when the next after that, there'll be no radiotherapy, it'll be more chemotherapy. So yeah, so we're there, and it's been a bit rockier, partly because of radiotherapi's difficulty, but because of that, it caused, just before Christmas, we had I keep saying we, but I mean I had in a hyperbaric, it's like a tank. That makes it sound like a tank, but it's under pressure. They pressurize the room, and then you breathe 100% oxygen. But they have to compressurize the room, but in order to get out, you need to, then it takes about 5 minutes, between 5 and 10 minutes, I'd say, before you can then get out the room. But when I was in it, I started having a seizure, which means I asked them to come and get me, but I had a seizure in that room. I wasn't going to share that, but then I thought, well, it wouldn't be unrealistic to suggest that. And I'm okay, and I was okay. The ambulance came to come and check me, and I was all okay. And they think it was, some people say it was the hyperbaric room. Some people, as a result of the radiotherapy, a bit of a combination of a number of different things. But I went from that room, from there, I just driven straight to the hospital, and then it was in the last week of radiotherapy, so I had some more radiotherapy because they said they were quite happy with how I was, that it was all right to continue, having just had that seizure. So some of the seizures there's been no effect. There's no tumour since then, but that's yeah. But we had that, and it's okay. It knocks your brain. It rattles your brain about a little bit around. So again, just back more vocabulary problems, but nothing hugely. But it's these are the things that we were just working on. So just practicing every single day, just trying to read a little bit, trying to talk clearly, trying to sleep, and all of those things. So yeah, that was the first thing. again, now we are starting to have some serious looks now of what we're going to do about how to deal with the tumor. Now again, with the research is continuing, the working that we're doing. There's lots that's been happening behind the scenes. So to give you some examples, there's lots of things in different countries that we're looking at in terms of options that may help. None of which have a cure in the same way, but there are lots of very clever people who are considering things that seem to be helping in positive ways. So we will be speaking with the Royal Marsden Hospital in London. We've already spoken with a really clever, brilliant Mr. Williams in London Imperial. We'll be speaking to Akash, Mr. Akash, for his advice and his thoughts. Because of the nature of our histology, the fancy words of the specific make of the tumour that I have. Now we've got all of that information. Of the DC-Vax, we do know if somebody's got the very, very similar, almost identical histology as me, and we are told that it's the one that's the least effective. Mine is the least effective tumor. For the technical words, which I won't, but it's all of those technical words we were expecting, we were hoping for. They're the ones that arrived. So we're reluctant to jump in with 2 feet with DC-Vax, and because of the different options we've got. But just to give you some examples, there is something called Optune, which is basically a very expansive hat. We've got there's lots of science behind the and lots of people argue against this, but about keto diet, which we're working really hard on. Lots of nutritional things I'm taking every single day, over the course of the day. Obviously lots of sleep where it's possible. There is a place there's a place in Germany which we keep being referred to. So we will speak to these people as well that are coming as recommended, very recommended, highly. In Budapest, there's a national hospital there that talks about the nutrition. Again, we've been looking at. There are other things to do with like red light and UV light that we've been looking at, but things would be getting to give access to these things. Again, the hyperbaric, which I've had to have a bit of a break for, but we're getting back to. Again, all of these things are only possible to us because we're able to for this money raised to us in the first place, to give us these options to look at. So we're really trying to be every penny being used to help give us access to these things. I know, by the way, I know to a lot of people this is very boring, but for speaking to other people yesterday, with other people that have gone through similar things, it's actually becoming quite empowering to listen to other people saying lots of similar things. So which is why I thought I'd say these things today. Keep getting real, again, nothing but positivity, and still people sending messages and just lots of positivity to us, you know, which is so lovely. And I sometimes it takes me so long to come back or replying, and it comes up, it peaks and troughs where I'm suddenly everything's clear and everything's less clear, or unable to really do very much at all. Which is perhaps why I'm not doing this video so much, because eventually they do get a little bit boring as well. I really miss my teaching. Who'd have thought? I'm missing all of these. I'm missing all of that. But I'm practicing every single day, trying to read and practice and talk, and these things. There are again lots of other things we talked a lot about today. Anything else I'm missing? There's some other research that's happening in America that we're otherwise looking at. So it is these options. We are going to have to see some decisions soon, and this includes, we'll speak to the oncologists in a meeting next Wednesday. But we've got a big list of things to talk about that we'd like to learn and tell them that we've learned. But there's one of the big ones is something called the right to try something that we don't really have in the UK very much here. So sometimes if there's an option for me to have a go at doing something, because there's not a lot of options in the world, let alone the UK, there's something that we're fighting for, the right to try. If that means a drug, like a drug for something else, then we think that we should have the right to be able to ask to use these drugs, or research. We should have the right to have a go at these things, and you'd be amazed how much there are things that would be otherwise stepping in your way from having the drug, a drug or a previous research that would stop you from having that. It's quite that's quite frustrating in the UK. But again, we're doing a lot of work of that, and on days especially like today, feel pretty strong, pretty good to try and research and work some more things. We're still trying to learn these things. So so that's kind of where we are. We're going to be making some quite big decisions soon. There won't be any scans soon. It'll be a while before these scans, which is a bit. We were just waiting for them. We can't tell what's going on inside that school now. But you can see here from the radiotherapy, actually, you can see where it took some of my beard away and took some of my hair, like here, there, which is quite interesting. Which is why I got like a weird wobbly head and a weird crappy haircut. But again, just all big love to everybody that keeps sending nothing but positivity and all of these things. It's never forgotten from my perspective, and I try and upload more often than I'm able to do so. I don't know why I haven't got a huge amount to say, but yeah, we'll keep work on that. But if there's any other questions, please feel free to send them to me. There were probably other things. I might send I'll probably do another message after this. They try and keep them under 15 minutes because otherwise it doesn't upload it. So I'm going to end this here. If there's anything I miss, I'll do it in a separate message. But feel free to contact me. And thank you to everybody else that continues to do so. So thank you very much.